When I first woke up beneath the violet sky of an alien world, the only thing I knew for certain was that I needed to escape. The air smelled strange, sweet and metallic at the same time. My head throbbed like someone had been pounding a hammer inside my skull. I pushed myself up from the smooth stone ground and looked around. Towering crystal structures rose around me like frozen lightning bolts. Soft blue lights pulsed within them, illuminating a valley filled with strange plants that glowed faintly in the dusk. This was not Earth. My name is Daniel Carter. At least, it was the last thing I remembered clearly. I had been a cargo pilot working long-haul routes near the outer colonies. My ship had encountered a storm of cosmic radiation. After that, everything was fragments of chaos. And now I was here, in an alien colony. And from the moment I stood up, something about this place made me feel like prey. I staggered toward the edge of the valley. In the distance, sleek metallic towers curved toward the sky like living sculptures. Bridges of shimmering energy connected them. If there was technology here, there had to be ships. And ships meant escape. I started walking. I had taken maybe 30 steps before I heard voices. They weren't human. The language was musical, flowing like water over glass. I turned slowly and froze. 5 figures stood behind me. Women. Alien women. They were tall, easily 6 feet or more, with silver blue skin that shimmered faintly under the strange sky. Their eyes glowed softly, like distant stars. Long dark hair flowed down their backs, moving as though touched by invisible currents. Each of them wore sleek armor that seemed grown rather than manufactured. And every one of them was staring at me. Not with hostility, with fascination. One of them stepped forward. "You are awake," she said. Her voice was calm, perfectly clear, and spoken in flawless English. My heart skipped. "You speak English?" I asked. "We speak many languages," she replied. "Your mind was scanned during transport." "Transport," I repeated. "You kidnapped me?" The other women exchanged glances, as if amused by my accusation. "No," she said gently. "You were rescued." I frowned. "From what?" "Death." That answer did nothing to calm my nerves. I took a cautious step backward. "Well, thanks for the rescue," I said. "But I'd really like to leave now." The women looked at each other again. Then one of them laughed softly. "You cannot leave," she said. "Why not?" The first woman tilted her head slightly. "Because," she said calmly, "you are chosen." At first, I thought it was some kind of misunderstanding. Chosen for what? I asked. No one answered immediately. Instead, the women began walking slowly around me in a loose circle. Their glowing eyes studied me carefully, like scientists observing a rare specimen. Finally, the leader spoke again. "My name is Lysera," she said. "You are within the colony of the eerily." "Okay," I said cautiously. "Nice to meet you, Lysera. But that still doesn't explain why I can't leave." She stepped closer. "Because you are the first compatible human male we have ever encountered." I blinked. Compatible for what? Another woman answered. "Our future." That sentence made my stomach drop. I held up both hands. "All right, time out. I think there's been a mistake. I'm not signing up for any alien destiny stuff. I just want to go home." Lysera's glowing eyes softened. "You cannot return." "Why?" "Your ship was destroyed in orbit. Our scouts recovered you from the wreckage." That hit me harder than I expected. Destroyed. Gone. Earth suddenly felt very far away. Still, that didn't mean I had to stay here. "There are other human colonies," I said quickly. "You could drop me off anywhere." Lysera shook her head. "It is not that simple." "Why not?" Before she could answer, another voice spoke from behind me. "Because you are already bonded." I spun around. A new alien woman had arrived. She was different from the others. Taller. Her armor was darker, lined with glowing crimson patterns that pulsed like a heartbeat. The others stepped aside respectfully as she approached. "Who are you?" I asked. "I am Commander Virelia," she said. Her gaze locked onto mine with unsettling intensity. "And you, human, are the key to our survival." Over the next hour, they explained everything. Or, at least their version of it. The eerily were an ancient species that had once ruled dozens of star systems. But centuries of war and genetic decline had nearly destroyed them. Most importantly, their population had become almost entirely female. Male births had grown incredibly rare. Without males, their species faced extinction. For generations, they had searched the stars for compatible partners, beings whose genetics could stabilize their own. But they had never found one. Until me. According to their scans, human DNA was astonishingly compatible with theirs. "Hold on," I said, rubbing my temples. "You're telling me your entire civilization thinks I'm some kind of breeding program?" Virelia didn't look embarrassed at all. "Yes." I stared at her. "That's insane." Lycera stepped forward. "It is survival." I shook my head firmly. "No. Absolutely not. I didn't sign up for this. You were chosen by the genetic resonance." "I don't care if I was chosen by a cosmic lottery," I snapped. "I'm leaving." The women exchanged quiet looks. No one tried to stop me as I turned and started walking toward the distant towers. That actually worried me more than if they had attacked. Because something told me this wasn't going to be easy. The colony was enormous. As I got closer to the city, I saw hundreds, maybe thousands, of alien women moving through the glowing structures. Every single one of them stopped when they saw me. Whispers spread like wildfire. Their glowing eyes followed me everywhere. Some looked curious. Some looked hopeful. Others looked almost relieved. That was when I realized something disturbing. I was the only human here, and probably the only male. I kept walking. Eventually, I found what looked like a landing platform, a massive circular structure filled with sleek spacecraft. My heart leapt. Freedom. I rushed forward. But before I could reach the nearest ship, a figure landed in front of me with impossible speed. "Commander Virelia." "How did you move with admirable determination," she said calmly. "Step aside. You cannot pilot our vessels." "I'll figure it out." She studied me silently. "You truly intend to leave?" "Yes." A long pause followed. Then she stepped aside. "Very well," she said. I didn't wait for her to change her mind. I ran straight toward the closest ship. The hatch slid open automatically. I climbed inside and stared at a cockpit filled with alien symbols. All right. Maybe figuring it out would take longer than expected. Behind me, Virelia leaned against the doorway. "You see," she said softly. I sighed. "Yeah, I see." I stepped back out. "Fine. Maybe I can't fly your ships. But that doesn't mean I'm staying." "Where will you go?" I looked toward the endless alien wilderness beyond the colony. "Anywhere else." That plan lasted about 3 hours. The alien planet was beautiful, but brutally unforgiving. The glowing forests stretched endlessly. Strange creatures moved through the shadows. The air grew colder the farther I walked. By the time night fell, I realized something uncomfortable. I had no food, no shelter, and no idea where I was. Eventually, I collapsed beside a glowing tree. A quiet voice spoke behind me. "You will die out here." I looked up. Lycera stood a few steps away. "Came to drag me back?" I muttered. "No," she said gently. "I came to bring you home." "I told you, it's not my home." She walked closer and sat beside me. "For us it must be." I rubbed my face. Why me? Because the resonance chose you. I laughed bitterly. That's a terrible reason to trap someone. Her glowing eyes softened again. We do not wish to trap you. Then let me go. Silence lingered between us. Finally, she said something unexpected. You may leave. I blinked. What? You may leave, she repeated. But if you do, our species will vanish within 3 generations. The weight of that sentence pressed down on me. Thousands of alien women, an entire civilization, all depending on one unwilling human. That's not fair, I whispered. No, Lysera agreed quietly. It is not. I didn't sleep much that night. When dawn arrived, Lysera was still sitting beside me, waiting, not forcing, just waiting. I looked back toward the distant alien city. Hundreds of glowing towers stood against the morning sky. Thousands of lives. A future balanced on one impossible choice. I'm not your savior, I said finally. You do not need to be. Then what do you need? Lysera smiled softly. A beginning. I stared at the horizon for a long time. Then I sighed. All right, I said. But we're setting some rules. Her eyes brightened. Rules? Yes. First rule. I'm not a prisoner. You will not be treated as one. Second rule. I get a say in my future. You always will. And third, I paused. If I'm staying here, you're going to teach me how to survive on this crazy planet. Lysera laughed, a warm, musical sound. That, she said, we will gladly do. As we walked back toward the colony together, I noticed something incredible. Women lined the bridges and towers, watching our return, not like guards, like witnesses, like they were seeing hope for the first time in centuries. Commander Varelius stood at the colony gates. When she saw me return, she nodded slowly. Have you made your decision, human? I took a deep breath. Yeah. And I looked around at the alien city, at the thousands of glowing eyes watching. I'm staying, I said. A ripple of astonished whispers spread across the colony. Varelius studied me carefully. Why? I shrugged slightly. Because someone has to give your species a future. Lysera squeezed my hand gently. And for the first time since waking on that strange world, I didn't feel like a prisoner. I felt like the beginning of something entirely new. For them. And maybe for me too. And deep down, I had a feeling this was only the start of a story far bigger than any of us could imagine.